everyone, Primer here and welcome back to another vehicle review in Armored Warfare. Today we will be taking a look at the most recent tier 10 premium main battle tank, which is the Altay. The Altay is a Turkish MBT that is based on the Korean K2 Black Panther, and it borrows a lot of solutions from it. In Armored Warfare, the Altay utilizes the first order ready rack with 5 rounds magazine, and it gets access to some limited features like the adjustable ground clearance and the hydropneumatic suspension, which allows for an independent height control over the front, rear and the sides of the Altay. In addition to that, the Altay is the first vehicle in Armored Warfare that uses a hybrid engine that is capable of reaching 55 km/h in just 6 seconds. It's also impossible to set that engine on fire, and it gets repaired a lot quicker. However, the tank itself can still be set on fire by shooting its ammo rack or its gas tanks. In order to get your hands on the Altay, you must reach rank 50 in the Battle Path event, which you can learn more about in my 2 Battle Path videos that I will link in the video description. But is it really worth all of that grind? Well, to answer that, let's look at the Altay stats and see how it compares to its rivals. Starting off with the alpha damage, the Altay has 590, which is below the 751 average damage for a tier 10 MBT, and for penetration it looks good with 850mm, which is 31mm above the average. The damage per minute for the first minute is a great 6240, coming in second place after the XM1A3, but when the ready rack is dry, then that number drops to just over 4200, making it the worst for a tier 10 MBT. The ready rack average damage potential with 5 rounds is 2950, which leaves many tier 10 MBTs in the 2-shot region, and it takes 8.4 seconds to reload 1 round back into that ready rack. For hit points, the Altay's 3500 is definitely below the average, and for its armor, we will have to look at that in the armor inspector. For the active protection system, the Altay gets both soft and hard kill systems with 10 seconds reload on the hard kill. The top speed of the Altay is one of its major drawbacks, as it's limited to only 55 km/h, which is 28% slower than the average top speed of a tier 10 MBT. However, the Altay is by no means a sluggish tank, as it can reach that top speed in just 6 seconds. Not only that, but it can hold on to it even when it's climbing hills. The hull traverse is a very good 44 degrees a second, only losing to the Type 99A2, which is a super heavy light tank. Camo rating is 20%, but it can be increased beyond that by lowering the suspension. View range is 450, similar to the Merkava 4M and the Leo 2AX. The maximum gun depression is a remarkable 16 degrees, only getting behind the Type 90's 17 degrees at tier 7. Gun accuracy and aim time are on the terrible side of things, with 0.113 and 2 seconds respectively, coming in just before the last place in both categories. Turret reverse is 49.73 degrees a second, almost on par with the Type 99A2. And now let's go and take a look at the armor profile of the Altay and then talk a little bit more about how you should use it on the battlefield. Looking at the armor map, we instantly see that the Altay doesn't carry any ERA, but that seems to be compensated in its armor composition and the spaced armor on the sides of the hull and the turret. For the armor itself, we will be comparing it to the gun of the T-14 Armada, which has 830mm of penetration. Also, a side note here, the gun mantlet armor is currently bugged, but that is going to be hotfixed very soon. From the front, the upper and mid plates are looking good, but the bottom half of the lower front plate is horrible with less than 700mm of effective protection. Angling the tank downward still doesn't resolve the lower plate weak spot, but it actually makes the upper plate less effective. The classic turret ring weak spot is there, but depressing the gun after firing and when face hugging should help protect it. Side scraping too much will expose the thin side armor, so try not to overdo it. And against HESH rounds, the lower plate is still a weak spot, and you can quite reliably damage the ammo rack from there. The area on the top of the turret where the gunner's sight is seems to be a weak spot when using HESH, and scoring a penetrating hit there has the potential of knocking out 3 crew members. For setting up the Altay, I like to use Carlos to increase my top speed to 60 km, but if you don't care all that much about it, then you can use Cortez for more DPM. For the driver, I went with accuracy and repairs, and for the gunner, accuracy and aim time, and for the loader, reload speed and repairs. For consumables, I like to use a large repair kit, fire extinguisher, and energy drink. For retrofits, I chose to go with reload, accuracy, repair speed, and view range. Now with all of that out of the way, let's go and watch the Altay in action, and I'll give you some tips on how you can use it effectively on the battlefield. Here we are on Ghost Field, and I am in a platoon with Spishak and Strix, and all of us are driving the Altay. At the beginning of any match, whenever I am in the Altay, I am always thinking about where can I use that 16 degrees of gun depression. The Altay is an excellent ridge fighter, and as long as you play to its advantages, you will be a serious threat to anyone that dares to face you. Here, I was still using my old loadout on the Altay, so I had Cortez as a commander, and I had both of the view range retrofits. And you can see how limiting that 55 top speed is, but the good thing about having a powerful engine is that we get to keep that speed going upslope. The first enemy tank gets spotted, and we continue to push toward that B3, B4 area, which is a really good spot to use the Altay in. Also, it seems that there's a bug in the replay file, as some tanks appears to be rubber banding around with a little bit of lag. Not that it matters, however, because we are about to start engaging the enemy team. I spot my opposite number who is not using his tank correctly, and I start to put fire onto him. The first shot goes right underneath his tank, and so is the second one, showcasing the bad accuracy of the Altay. The third shot goes in, and the fourth shot finishes him off. Now I shift my attention toward that Terminator, and I put a shot into him, and now that my ready rack is empty, I'm having to wait on a full 7 seconds reload. I'm starting to look for shots on the tanks below us, and I shave off 650 hit points from that T-15. The Terminator gets spotted again. I look for a shot on him, but I can't find a good one, so I shift back to the Altay, and I manage to penetrate him in the turret ring weak spot. The Terminator is being really annoying right now, so we decided to shoot him with the turret to keep him in check. That Merkava is thinking about pushing up, but then he backs off, so we are going to push ahead instead. I try to shoot that T-15, but his ABS blocks my shot. Waiting on the reload and seeing him backing off, I aim for his tracks, and I manage to immobilize him, allowing Spishak and Strix to finish him off. In the meantime, our southern flank has collapsed, and we must play aggressively if we want a chance in winning this match. That poor Merkava gets tracked and set on fire, and I put a shot into him, but unable to finish him off. And now that he is out, we are going to continue pushing this flank. We decided to split here, so Strix and Spishak will go and try to finish off that Altay, while I go around after the Terminator and the Cent 120. I put one shot into that Terminator and then finish him off with my second one. Moving forward, I spot that pesky Cent 120, and I manage to land a shot onto him, and then I switch to heat to try and do more damage to him. And yes, I get trolled by his spaced armor. I do a bit of misplay here by not switching back to armor piercing, which made me miss my second shot on that Cent 120. Thinking about shooting the Challenger, but it's not a really good shot, so I switch back to the Cent 120 and I only splash him with my heat multi-purpose. Being fed up with that heat, I go back to armor piercing as I advance forward to try and help out on that Altay. He is in a really good position, so I decided not to go after him because I will get shot from the side and die before I get to him. A T-14 gets spotted on the flank, and I'm very concerned about him. I am really in a bad position here, and I'm sort of stuck in it. I'm looking for a way out, but I can't find a one that is safe enough since that Altay is still alive. The T-90MS comes charging down the hill. I put a shot into his lower plate, and then I drop the suspension of my tank to try and hide my lower plate. The Leopard 2AX gets spotted again, and I manage to finish him off, securing a kill on a very dangerous tank. The T-90MS is still there, however, and I am being flanked by an Altay. Thankfully, our Cent 120 was in position to stop him, and I take advantage of him being distracted to secure my fourth kill. The T-90MS takes a swing at me, but my armor managed to block his shell. And now Strix and Spishak are both down. I am left with 3 teammates against 5. The Merkava tries to charge that T90MS, but the T14 on my team manages to finish him off first. I'm thinking about supporting my 2 MBTs against that T14, but the enemy Cent 120 gets spotted by our own Cent 120 and they engage each other. I thought about helping him out, but by the time I get into position, he will be already dead. It's 3 versus 3 now, and I am thinking about using my view range to try and spot that scent. However, I get spotted by him and I fire blind to try and suppress him. I go over this ridge to try and spot that PL01 that was shooting our Merkava. I wait for my view range retrofit to activate, and now that I could not spot anything, I'm thinking about that Cent 120 and his position on the minimap and how he might flank us. So right now I'm moving to where I think he will go to try and counter him. And sure enough, here he is. He panics a little bit and doesn't manage to damage me, and he takes a hit from our T14. This time I have AP loaded, so I hit him once, then I finish him off with my second shot. I keep going forward to try and get out of the line of fire of that PL, who managed to bounce his earlier shot when I was charging the Cent 120. And now I decided to cap to put pressure on the PL01 and the T14 and force them to come to us. I'm expecting that T14 will come from the 1 line, so I position myself to try and spot him. I'm keeping an eye on the minimap waiting for either of the enemies to appear, and once again, my prediction was right. I immediately adjust my armor toward him, and this is just Ready Rack 101. I fire 1 shot to pop his APS, a second one to lock him down, and I get behind him where he has the least amount of gun depression to deny him a shot on my lower plate. I proceed to face hug him after disabling his engine, and I keep moving back and forth to try and not let him hit any of my weak spots. And the T14 on my team manages to finish him off. A very good trade there with that one-on-one engagement, as I took down a full HP T14 while only receiving 700 damage in return. Trading like that is something the Altay is really good at, so try and keep that in mind. All what's left now is that PL01, and I decided to go back onto the cap to force him in. It seems that the PL01 had popped his smoke for some reason, which gave his position away. Right now I'm thinking that PL01 might try and flank through the B line, so I adjust my position accordingly. Our T14 is trying to chase him down, and he spots him going up the 3 line, confirming my prediction. The Merkava left the cap to go after that PL01, while I decided to use that bush in front of me to ambush him. I bounce my first shot on him, so I deploy my smoke and move back, but he still manages to damage me a little bit since he's firing heat multi-purpose, which act a little bit like HE when it does not penetrate. He deploys his own smoke to try and stay alive, but our Merkava finishes him off. And what a match there, doing 12,858 damage while getting 5 kills and 14,288 base experience. Our platoon managed to do 24,652 damage, which is more than what our team did combined. 35 shots fired, 30 hits and 5 misses, not a bad result there considering the gun accuracy and the aim time. The armor of the Altay held up quite well there, blocking 6,796 damage, which is almost enough to kill the Altay 2 times over. And now back to our question. Is the Altay worth the grind? Hell yeah it is, because it's such a beast of a tank when used the right way. So go out and make your way toward it because you will not regret it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and get subscribed so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos or giveaways here on this channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next one.